Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We will begin with our prayer to be followed by the national anthem. May we request everyone to put yourselves in the presence of our Lord. God Almighty, thank you for bringing us together to celebrate Cebuano culture and heritage through the sharing of our stories. We need this in this time of uncertainty, O God, to remind us of our identity as a people, unique, blessed, and proud. This reminder must inspire us that whatever challenges we face, whether unseen, alien, and treacherous, can always be overcome when we are united in working for the present and the future and the heritage of our children and community. We pray for our present day heroes who are fighting against the virus and other threats that besiege us today, our own people struggling to overcome these threats, and those who have died, fallen but never forgotten. Dearest God, heal our land. Amen. Maayong hapon mga Sugbuanons!
Hi, can everyone hear me? Maayong hapon mga Sugbuanons, mga Bisayang dako, and everyone who have joined our online activity this afternoon diha sa FB o YouTube. Hinaot na amo sa maayong panglawas o kahimtang. We missed everyone last month. It would have been the Gabii sa Kabilin 2020 physical event. Even if we couldn't physically gather for the GSK in May or for the year that for that matter, The organizers and all the GSK partner museums and sites also couldn't bear not to see you. So we jumped at the opportunity to also utilize the digital media where we all were during this time of the quarantine to bring GSK to your screens. For there is a saying, the show must go on. And not just to put a sense of normality in our lives while waiting for the so called next normal, we believe that this time of uncertainty instead is the best time to tell stories about the Cebuano identity and pride. Also, next year, we shall already be celebrating the big historical and cultural event, the 500 years of the arrival of Magellan and the birth of Christianity in the Philippines. It would be unwise not to keep your seats warm, so to speak, and leave a gap in the storyline. If you remember, followers of the Gabii sa Kabilin, since 2018, we have drumbeat already for the big event. GSK held thematic celebrations beginning with Balangay, setting sail in 2019. This year is the journey, and next year, of course, is the arrival. We continue the theme this year in our online activities. And thus, the opening activity is a lecture to trace the journey of Magellan's voyage from Spain to the Philippines. Just to set us in the proper mood, we'd like to show the teaser video we already released at the start of this year.
No eres adecuado para hacer esto, capitán.
So, in behalf of the Ramon Aboitiz Foundation Incorporated, the organizer of the GSK, and all the official partner museums and sites of this year's Gabii sa Kabilin, I'd like to open the GSK online activities, which will run until December and scheduled every last Friday of the month, same time and same venue. The first online activity hosted by the University of San Carlos Museum and Museo Sugbo, one of our original partners. We'd like to welcome you to this webinar that will give you details on the journey of the Magellanic expedition, to be given by Cebu's leading archaeologist and historian, who is the director of the University of San Carlos Museum or Museums and manager of the USC Press, and is a full professor at the USC Department of Anthropology, Sociology, and History. He has edited, written, co authored a number of books, including The War in Cebu. He also writes a weekly heritage column in Cebu Daily News called Past Forward. He is the current head, elected head, of the Committee on Museums of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. Before I give you to our speaker, I would just like to inform everyone that after the lecture, we will have the moderated Q&A with our speaker. In fact, the moment a question pops in your head, might as well chat it so that your questions can be collected, consolidated, and sifted, and that we can hopefully, given the time, we will be able to give all your questions to the speaker for the answers. Also, please watch out for our trivia questions. One or two will be given here during the webinar. The rest of the trivia will be given after the webinar. There are prizes for those who will answer them first. And we have also a contest for kids. So parents and teachers of schools for children, I think you should stay tuned. So all of you, may I please ask that you like and continue following the Gabii sa Kabilin page so that you will be updated as to the online activities that will happen every month. And at the same time, we have weekly posts about culture, Cebuano culture and heritage too. Don't forget to answer our online evaluation so you can get an e-certificate. Now, on with the journey. Please welcome our esteemed speaker and a great supporter to Gabii sa Kabilin, Dr. Jose Eleazar Jobers Bersales.
Thank you kaayo Heidi, and welcome to this webinar kang tanang nag-participate karon. I will go directly to the lecture. May kay gitawag ni siya lecture. So serious ni siya dili ta mga tawa ani. Okay. So, the title of the paper, the lecture I am going to present today is Giants, Virgins, Mutinies, and a Peaceful Ocean. Ferdinand Magellan and the Westward Search for the Spice Islands. Okay, next slide please. Makita, I hope makita. Pwede ang slide ibutang dili akong now. Okay, sige. Kay dili maayo akong now tanawon diri. Okay. Mao ni ang outline sa presentation nako. I will talk about source documents that have appeared on primary documents on Magellan, the search for a westward route to the Indies, the cast of characters that are important if you want to study Magellan and the journey, the westward route to Cebu, the timeline of the entire trip, and then completing the circumnavigation, where I will continue the timeline, going back to Spain, and then concluding remarks, and then some acknowledgement. Next, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so in terms of source documents, we have Francisco Albo, who was a survivor of the Magellan expedition. He was most probably a Greek, one of the many nationalities on board the expedition, on the ships in the expedition. These are important. This is an important fact. There were many nationalities there other than Portuguese and Spanish. Albo wrote a book of the route of longitudes and latitudes, which are not important to an ordinary reader. It will be just a listing, but it's important to determine certain controversial issues that have cropped up, especially in the Philippines, on the Magellan expedition, which I will not talk about hopefully in this talk. I don't like to be involved in those controversies anyway. This book begins at San Agustin in Brazil, when the fleet reaches San Agustin, and then ends around when the time Elcano returns and at Cape Verde on the way back to Spain. The second book is it's an unnamed explorer, a member of the expedition. He is just mentioned as a Genoese pilot. He is most probably, according to scholars, Juan Bautista or Juan Bautista. The manuscript starts from the departure in Sanlúcar de Barrameda up to the Moluccas, because he was on board the Trinidad. And later you will learn that the Trinidad actually survived the trip out of Cebu, but was so decrepit that it had to be repaired in Timor. And from there, it was left behind and tried to catch up with the Victoria, but they were arrested by the Portuguese, the ship, and the manuscript was confiscated. They were everyone was put to prison. The next source is Gaspar Correa. He was a Portuguese historian who died in 1563, but his work was published only in 1856 or 66, around that period. For some reason, the manuscript was lost and was found later in the 1800s in the Archivo General de Indias in Spain. There are some inaccuracies in his work, but there is special merit in his detailed description of the mutiny at Port San Julian, Puerto San Julian, in Brazil, when the most important mutiny. No, there are two mutinies there. This one is a very important mutiny. And despite his being a Portuguese, he's one Portuguese who judges Magellan moderately. You will notice if you read the Magellan expedition from the Portuguese side, they disparage him. Of course, they call him a traitor. In fact, ngayon sila Mayra nga namatay siya. Most of these historians from the Portuguese side, they say that. But here you have Gaspar Correa, who treats Magellan in his book moderately. Then there is Oliveira, another Portuguese. This is called the Leiden manuscript. It was also lost and found only in the 1800s and was published later. And there is a translation. I have a copy of the translation, also of the Gaspar Correa. This is a National Historical Commission published copy, published in 2002 of the Viagem de Fernando a Magallanes, the original Portuguese name of Magellan. Then there is Gines de Mafra, who wrote this book only. He was a survivor also of the Magellan expedition, but he wrote his volume, small slim volume, only when he was part of the Villalobos expedition of 1542, the fourth expedition sent by the King of Spain to follow up on the claims to the colony. And he's the cause of the problems of Limasawa and Masao in Butuan, because he claims that he landed in the same place that they were there in Masawa during the time of Magellan. And he came back, and he describes it on a different latitude and longitude, which caused all these controversies later. There is Peter Martyr, an Italian priest, Pedro de Angeri, Martirio de Angeri, who was at the Spanish court during the return of Elcano. And because he was there, he interviewed many of the 18 survivors. And so you have, but there's a lot of errors in his book, according to historians. And the Maximilianos, the other volume, I have a copy of that. I can't find it anymore. It was also republished in English by the National Historical Institute sometime in 2001 also, which was the 430th anniversary of the Magellan. No, 470th anniversary. 480th anniversary of the Magellan expedition. So in that time, the NHI published. He was a son of a cardinal, Cardinal Mateus Lang, the Cardinal of Salzburg. Do not ask me why he became a son of a cardinal, but for some reason he was a son of a cardinal. Do not ask me that question. I cannot explain that. But the cardinal had a son. His name was Maximilianus Transilvanos. He must have been probably the Transilvanos. It's assigned that it must have been from Hungary or that part of the border of Hungary and Romania, Transylvania. He was there at the inquiry on what happened to the expedition, and he was one of the interrogators assigned by King Carlos I, later King Carlos V of the Holy Roman Empire, but the first King Carlos of Spain, no, King Carlos I, who took on the title King Carlos V, King Charles V of the Holy Roman Empire, appointed, of course, by a member of the of the Pope. Yeah. Okay. And then on his own initiative, he interviewed survivors beyond the inquiry. Kaya ang inquiry formal man, question na. But beyond that, he interviewed some of those survivors after the inquiry, talked to them. And he was the first to publish. It's a letter, actually, to his father, the Cardinal Matthäus Lang, the Bishop of Salzburg in, of course, Germany. So these are the sources that are one. And on this slide, you find the incipit. Oh wait, I forgot to mention Pigafetta, Antonio. This is by far the most comprehensive and the longest. If you measure the number of pages, it's the thickest of all these reports. No, and he is an eyewitness account, a survivor of the Magellan expedition. If there is an authority on the expedition, an eyewitness account, it would be him. He was there right from the start and up to the inquiry in Valladolid in October 1522. Well, yeah. And on this slide, you find the incipit, the first page of the Ambrosiana version of the Pigafetta Chronicle. Il primo intorno viaggio del mundo, the first navigation of the world. That's the title of his treatise. No, okay. He took copious notes. We will talk about him later. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. Now, here you find the first issue that one must consider is, did Magellan intend to look for a westerly route or a westward route to the east? Well, actually, if you look at the start, there was Pope Paul the Sixth, Pope Paul the Sixth, who was a Spaniard, Rodrigo de Bora Idoms, who became Pope Pope Alexander the Sixth, not Pope Paul the Sixth. Pope Paul the Sixth came only in the 1960s. Pope Alexander the Sixth, he issued a papal bull early in the 1890s. I think after 1592, after Columbus arrived back in Spain. The bull, actually, according to historians, was basically written by Columbus, the location, the identification of the demarcation line. No? Inter Cetera actually did not divide the world as it was known then between Portuguese and Spanish realms. It actually established what belonged to Spain, didn't establish what belonged to Portugal. The Pope didn't care about that. It was at the instigation, of course, of the Pope's kababayan, Ferdinand and Isabella of Ferdinand of Aragon, the King of Spain, that they established that 300 leagues from Cabo Verde or the Azores, the Azores, all lands, all territories, 300 leagues from that point, 100 leagues from that point, not 300, 100 leagues from that point belonged to Spain, south of the Azores and to the west of the Azores. were all part of Spain. Of course, King Juan II of Portugal did not like it. Okay, it appeared that everything was all the territories that were discovered by Portugal, and at this time, we must realize that Portugal was more advanced in discovering new lands than Spain. You know, it just so happens that the Pope was Spaniard, so to temper the exploratory tendencies of Portugal. Portugal was already in India, in Africa, and in Brazil at the time. They decided to 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 to, to create this intercetera. And following year, the Pope issued this another bull called Dudum Sicidiem, issued in September 1943, and even practically awarded the whole eastern and western hemispheres to Spain. You know? So the Portuguese King Juan II appealed to did not go to the Pope. He said, went to King Ferdinand and Isabella. Grabe kadalo na sad nato in town, mga igagaw ramanta, parinte ramanta. All the royal families were relatives, related to each other. So the Portuguese king appealed to Ferdinand and Isabella. And, well, Ferdinand and Isabella, they realized na bitaw dalo rasad ka itaw eh. You know? So gihatag nila ang section of the so they entered into a treaty called the Treaty of Tordesillas. It was made in Tordesillas, which was signed on June 7, 1494. In it, Spain establishes a line north to the South Pole, 370 leagues west of the Cape Verde Islands. Anything beyond that to Spain, and to the east of that to Portugal. Now, this will cause a problem for Magellan if he goes to Spain for support, because as it happens, the Portuguese land from India sent a fleet of ships to Ternate to trade in Ternate, and for a while in 1509 they were accepted by the chief of Ternate. His name was Bailam, or something like that. But later, I think at the intriga, kaya in politics na gi-intriga ang mga Portuguese nga they are going to conquer Malacca and all that. And that Ternate, I'm mistaken. They went to Malacca and traded there. And gi-intriga sila sa court in Malacca until gi-attempt ni patay ang head of the fleet, si Sequeira, by the Malays, but they were informed ahead of time nga. Kaya as usual, sa politika, naam gina yung mga balimbing, naasa yung mga espiya, so the Portuguese were warned ahead of time. Even then, as now, naagi yung mga intrigero, naagi yung mga mamuhat istorya, mo-post sa Facebook o fake news, naasad sa una, sa time, sa Malacca, and na-prepare ang Portuguese for the king of Malacca attacking them. Eventually, by 1511, na-occupy na sa Portuguese ang Malacca. And Malacca became a Portuguese foothold. Sus ang Malacca is within, under the Treaty of Tordesillas, within Portuguese realm. Now, na siya ang background nganong naabot si Magellan na mangita westerly route. Why? Because adto siya sa king sa Portugal niya. May king sa Portugal nga, adi ko yung anong mangita pa magkuglaing ruta. Ang langita pa magkuglaing agianan. Nga nanam ko inindot nga agianan. No? The only way to convince that there should be another route would be killing the king of Spain. Now, later I will tell you what happened anong na convince ni si Magellan nga buwan to gyud sa Moluccas. Next slide, please. Kaya ron humanta dayon. Okay. There are three important people in this expedition. People will probably say nga, kuan, na ako na ingon si Giselle, na ako niingon nga, the webinar has not started. Nasa messenger, can you check kung tinuod ba? Sa Facebook. Kaya basig wala pa ma-start. Okay, anyway. Anyway, so the cast of characters, we have three that are really important. unya kuan kining mao ni sila. Ganlan nato tagsa-tagsa in the next slide. So next slide please. Next slide. Okay, let's start with Magellan. Okay, Fernão Magalhães, as he's called in Portugal, was born in Porto Sabroso, Portugal. He was probably around 1480. Was born around 1480. The painting of him, the image of him, is just imaginary. He never, whatever portrait we have, or the Portuguese or the Spanish have of him has been lost. So let's just imagine him with the bongot and all that. But actually, he's 39 years old when he leaves when he, in 1919, he would be 39 years old. Yeah. Or 49. Yeah, 39 years old when he leaves for Spain. So, I mean for the Cebu. He served under the Portuguese flag in India around 1505. There he befriends, either befriends or he was there because he had a cousin called Francisco Serrao or Francisco Serrano in Spanish, and he was in the conquest of Malacca, where Francisco Serrao stays behind, but Magellan eventually returns via India to Portugal, but stays for a while in Egypt and then in Morocco, where he gets injured in his leg and is he walked with a limp even when he arrived probably in Cebu. Of course, Pigafetta would not say Magellan was limping around because everybody, that would not be important. It doesn't matter, doesn't change your brain. But according to stories, to historians and the description about him, he was injured in Morocco and had a limp. It was probably in Malacca that Enrique was bought by Magellan. At that time, Enrique was supposed to be, according to Pigafetta, 15 years old, I think, at that time. And according to Pigafetta, he was bought from Sumatra. So all of you who believe that Enrique was from Cebu, do not dissuade yourselves from that kind of mentality. Maximilianus Transylvanus later will tell you that in his Demolochis, in Sulismo Demolochis, that Magellan had an interpreter, and Humabon also had an interpreter who could speak the language of Ternate, Timor, all those the Moluccas, the province of Maluku today in Indonesia. So dissuade yourselves from those stories started by the national artist who, I forgot his name, who said that Enrique de Malacca was from Cebu because Humabon could understand him. That is not correct. I will explain later that there was an exchange with interpreters. Interpreter ni Humabon, interpreter ni Magellan, si Enrique. Of course, yeah. And there are other stories that he may have come from Maluku. It's from the Moluccas, from Timor or Tidor or Ternate. But Pigafetta clearly states that he comes from Sumatra. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, initially, Magellan presented a westward route to King Manuel in 1516. But ingon si King Manuel, unsa man na akong westward route nga under man adto man sa Spain. Besides, why do I need to go to the Moluccas when I have Maluku or Malacca? We must differentiate between the Moluccas and Malacca. They're very near the names are very near, but they're very far each other. In fact, today, Malacca is in Malaysia, nearer to Kuala Lumpur, than the Moluccas or the Maluku province of Indonesia, which is in the Banda Strait. No, layo kayo na siya. Mag-aeroplano ka, mga duha o tunga ka oras gikan sa Malacca to the capital, to Ternate, if there's an airport there. So it's quite far. It's like you are in Baguio and Malacca, and Moluccas would be in General Santos City. There's a big difference. Okay. Now, because he was rebuffed, he presented this kuan. And one of the reasons why Magellan wanted to go to Moluccas was he received a letter from Francisco Serrao nga nindot kay dere, daghang kay spices, especially ang cloves nga makapahumot sa pagkaon, and kanang nutmeg nga ang liso in powder mulami ang pagkaon, unya ang iyang covering called maize makalami sad siya, makaslom gamay. Kaya in this time you have to understand food in Spain is bland, asin ra. Nga butangan ra tingalig mga thyme kanang mga spices nga way ayo nga way lami, no, even until now we don't use them sa naibaligya sa ayala nga kanang mga daghan ka idea di tam gamit, kaya nga tuwa gyud kanang cloves, onions, garlic, sibuyas bombay, inana gyud, no, sibuyas bombay, sibuyas, all of them grow in that area. And because kini si Francisco Serrao told him na kining Moluccas is further to the east of Malacca. Yang giilad sa Magellan. Para si Magellan mo adto yang giingnan nga layo-layo ni siya. Under ni sa one layo gid ni. Wa pa ni maklaim white tao der walay Portuguese claim ani so kitay claim. Wa man gyud ma convince ang king o King Manuel na at sa time, di na sa King Juan. King Manuel of Portugal. Dili na ko interesado. And because in 1514, around 1513, Magellan was implicated in an illegal trading kuno of weapons to Muslims of Morocco. And from then on, news arriving to the king, despite the fact that he saved so many people in many of these conquests, he was a man of honor. The news that arrived to King Manuel was not positive, no. So when he was turned down, there is a story that he asked for King Manuel nga, if you cannot support me, is it okay if I will ask the King of Spain? That's one of the versions. No? Niingon ko no siya, I think Gaspar Correa or others. Nga niingon si King Manuel, bahala ka, bahala. No? Naam sa di siya bahala at panahon namin. It's up to you. No? Other Portuguese writers, no, nga mga negative kaig pananaw ni Magellan is like this nga, ning hangyo kuno si Magellan asked to kiss the king of King Manuel's hand niya, ningon kuno ana ang kamot. Nana ka grabe ka negative ang mga Portuguese sa gibuhat ni Magellan nga niabot sa Cebu. Okay. So he arrived in Seville on 20 October now. Before he arrived in Seville on October 20, 1517, there was this guy called Roy Falero, also Portuguese, who was in Lisbon, who was a famous cosmographer, kanang buhat og mapa gamit ang mga stars, and who could actually pinpoint the exact longitudes of all the explorations. In the Magellan's time, defined kaayo ang latitudes, but the distance between territories, the longitudes, no, the actual longitude on a map was very poorly defined. And if you're a cosmographer, the way to define that is you look at the stars, no? Basa-basa niya. Here is Roy Falero, who was very good in this, very good at mathematics. Pero may pagka-diferensya ang utok tungod tingalis ka bright. Doon ay nang sa puton, init ulo, dali mag-nervous breakdown, kurug-kurug kamot, whatever, inana. So, yeah. So may pagka-diferensya. Iyang King Nancy, i-present nila ang mga mapa dito sa King sa Portugal. Ingon ang King, walagi ko'y labot ninyo. Anak ko'y photo, na ako sa India, na ako sa Brazil, na ako sa Malacca. Kung sa pamakuhan mo, ito pamakuhan ng Moluccas. Moluccas nga, naman ko'y mga spices. I mean, I can buy spices in Malacca. No? Coming, of course, from the Banda Straits. Especially one island, I think Almaera, which produced nutmeg. No, niya buang kay ng mga Portuguese, I mean, not the Portuguese, the Dutch afterwards. There's one island, I think, in the Banda, na ilang patay ang tanang mga in the Banda, patay nila. Later na niya, mga 1600s, the Dutch East Indies, ilang gipatay ang tanang nutmeg trees all over para usar gid ka island motubo og nutmeg o gimonopolize nila ang trade in nutmeg. Inana ka importante ang nutmeg. No, busa kaon gani mo pagkaon nga nay nutmeg. Seryosa na ninyong kaon kay inana ka serious. Panahon sa 1600s o 1500s ang nutmeg, no, sa cake, sa ice cream, sa unsa pa na diya. Well, why ice cream atong panahon na karon ba? Okay. So, Abot na siya sa civil, dito siya nagpuyo sa balay sa usa ka Portuguese nga na-Spanish na si Duarte Barbosa. Duarte ang iyang apo pag-umangkon si Diego. Or Diego Barbosa diay. Si Duarte ang kuyog ni Magellan pag-umangkon niya. Si Duarte Barbosa, who was acceptable in the courts sa Valladolid, sa civil, sa Casa de la Contratación, which handles all these explorations, Casa de la Contratación. Munang karon mo ato gani ka sa Spain or online sa Archivo General de Indias nga online nga search engines. If you look for kanang explorations mga or mga projects nga gi-fund sa king adto gyud ka sa Casa de la Contratación nga records kay naa gina diha tanan niya naa sa na dito nalubong ang kang Gaspar Correa ba to nga papers nga gi-publish later. Anyway, so nakalusot gyud siya, naka-audience gyud si Magellan sa batan-on kaayong hari. Before siya naglarga, by the way, iyang giminyo ang anak ni Diego Barbosa, si Doña Beatriz. Now, unfortunately, si Doña Beatriz namatay before ni abot si Magellan. Wag gini siya kibaw nga. Namatay sa Daes Magellan. So there's a sad story to this, no? Matay si Magellan diri gipatay na yung lapu-lapu niya. Pag-abot nila Elcano, matay na sad si Doña Beatriz was like anak, no? Nana. No? Okay. Now next slide, please. Nitaas naman yung istorya. Now next slide. Okay. Now, let's start. Of course, the person who partially funded the expedition is Carlos I, no? Who would later become Carlos V or Carlos V of the Holy Roman Empire. So all the empires that were crowned by the Pope were part of the Holy Roman Empire. So if you notice, taas yung suwang. Mo ni siya problema sa mga... But katapusan man ni siya. Wait ha. Di din siya katapusan niya. Anak ni siya ni Queen Juana. Remember sa Humabon? Nga tayong ang asawa ni Humabon, wata kibaw gisengan, ginganlan og Juana, mama niya. Pero kini siya nagtubo sa Flemish Kingdom of Belgium, Brussels. Did not speak Spanish. No? He was born in 1500, so by the time nag-audience sila ni Magellan 1517, 17 anyos ni siya, bata kayo. His because Queen Juana was buangon, no? Apparently prone to nervous breakdown. Isag tiguang na kayo si King Ferdinand II, nag-regent siya ng King Queen Juana when it was the turn of Queen Juana to actually rule Aragon, the Kingdom of Spain, no, Castile and Aragon, and the southern parts that were once part of the Muslim areas of southern Spain. Nag-unite niya, nakuha niya. Natiguang na siya. So namatay siya in January 1516. Unya, mo na siya. Unya, mag-trivia pa ta? Okay, okay. Unya, kaning nawala ko sa kontrata. Well, namatay si Ferdinand II. So giingnan ni si King Carlos nga pag human mag-eskwela diha dong, moadto gyud kasi imong gingharian sa Aragon. Bahala na di ka kibaw mag-Castilian, no? Ning-ingon ko mo siya mo usted mo. Tubag kag di mao okay ra na. Kay ikaw may hari, pwede na nimo sila ingon tanan nga di ko kasabot ninyo sa pag-English mo. Tapag gamit mo Flemish nga language. Anyway, so abot siya dito, arrives in 1517 September. And remember this, Magellan arrives October 1517. 1 month later, abot siya. No knowledge of the language, but the king appoints important people around him. Most of them mga Flemish, mga kuan ba kanang itong kanang inigpuli sa kanang bag-o nga politiko nga tanan dayon niyang pulihan tanan ni nana dayon ni nana, no? Wa ni nahitabo kay kani si Carlos I, kana inyong imnunon nga fundador Carlos I, mao ni siya, no? Carlos the first, Carlos I nga naas fundador, Carlos I mahal. Nga kita na itag-iya karon sa fundador. Anyway, naghang kayong set asides. Anyway, let's go back. Kini siya, i-appoint niya ang bishop, si Bishop Fonseca of Valladolid as his vice chair of the Council of the Indies. Katsila nga importante kayo in this negotiation. Eventually, of course, na-convince siya after presentation ni Rui Falero, mga mapa and all that nga, kuy, hari, imong gihatag sa imong lolo ang tanang parts nga naay mga spices, but napagay lugar mo lukas nga wa maapil. No, nga naay spices kay giingong pang Francisco Serrao, layo ra ni siya to the north and to the east, dili wa ni siya maapil sa Portuguese realm. Ani gyud kay makuha ra gyud ni anana bla bla bla. So maklaim pagili nato inana. So niingon siya, sige sige, okay, pinansan ta ni. So pag financing dako kay gasto. So doon na ni mga private financiers ang expedition. Doon na ni siya financiers niya. In the capitulación, the contract, la capitulación, the capitulación signed by Magellan and prepared by the cosmographer Falero on 22 March 1518. Napulo ni ka agreements nga pilay porsyento ka Magellan, kada island makuha, pilay income, pila iyaha, pila ka islands, pila ni ana. Grabe gid ni. O pakalis la kibaw pila ka islands, pero kumpleto na ni ilang mga sabot-sabot nga sa 8 ka islands, duhay mo. If 8 ka islands, unom ako ingon ang king, duhay mo. Now if sobra-sobra ang islands, 15% imuha sa income ana. So dakpa gyud kayo dindot. No? Next slide please. Natuog na ang atong tikoprint. Okay, now, mag-trivia ta? Di pa? Okay. So, i-message lang kung mag-trivia mo. Anyway, si Pigafetta, ang pinaka-importante nato, kini siya Italiano, born in around 1491 in Vicenza, Italy, and moved to Florence or Firenze in later, where the family has, until the 19th century, still had a house, a house with the seal of the 2 rows of the rose and the silver band. Pigafetta was originally a family name called Pigafetta, and then he shifted to Pigafetta, and then eventually pagsuwat niya sa iyang prinsip, katong iyang primo viaggio in torno al mundo. Pigafetta na iyang gamit. Do not ask me why he did not like the first names. Maybe he didn't like the letter A or letter L or anything, but Pigafetta. He was most probably a member of the Knights of Rhodes because he was an aide to Monsignor Francesco Chiragate, the apostolic pronotary or nuncio of Pope Leo X to Spain. Unya asa gani ang Spanish court mo irog sa Amer, mo irog sa Valladolid, Toledo, unya Valladolid, Tuyok, Barcelona, mukuyog yun ni siya. Unya aning time nga gi-present ni approve na ang kapitulasyon nila, ang agreement nila sa King Carlos I o nilang Ferdinand Magalhaes o ni Rui Falero, naa siya sa Spanish court. Kusog na ni istorya nga, huy na ili makabarko nga, ipadala ang hari dito sa kuan, why nahibaw ang lugar, kay ikaside mo, agi kay naay usa ka tao nga mo insist yun nga, there is another route, no, bisag wa gid na makiti. So daghang gusto mo finance. Okay, next. Next slide. Okay, now, kini si Pigafetta ni apply, so kibaw man siya ani, pila edad niya? 25 edad. I think he was 25, around 25 years old. Wait, 1491 plus 1519. Oh God, my mathematics is very bad. So, mga kuha niya, 18 edad. No? 91, 2011, 11. 38 years old yan siguro. So, para sa around that time. But he entered the Knights of Rhodes at the age of 25, 29. For some unexplained reason, dili ni siya ganahan ni Elcano. So, in the entire viaggio in torno al mundo, there is no mention of Elcano until the arrival. Okay, si Sebastian Elcano ang ning abot sa San Lugar de Barrameda. Mora na, that's the only honor he gives to Sebastian Elcano. We do not know why. We know that Elcano participated in the mutiny at San Julian, Puerto San Julian. But that's not the reason why he does not like him. He just does not like Sa pa siya ikano, di ba naamon kita yung mga tao nga, makikita pa lang ta, di ta ganahan, mao tingali ni. No? Kita pa lang ta sa naong sa lihukan, di ko ganahan aning tawhan na, patiran ko, nagbudool na ko. Inaana tingali ni siya, hindi siya ganahan. Yeah, this was never explained because you will notice that Elcano is never mentioned in the Pigafetta Chronicle. Ang important contribution ni Pigafetta is dili lang what was going on in the expedition, but he describes people that they met, the natives that they met along the way. This is kind of a basic ethnography, primary visual kanang eyewitness ethnography, including some glossaries that until now gigamit pa nato, no? The glossary niya sa Cebuano language, baboy, ilong, mata, tiil. There's a long list of the second manuscript niya published later, where there is a long list of all these words, no, okay, but describe. And of course, you remember, we have an illustration, we have a description of those penile rings, the genital rings. I hope wala bata na minaw or nagtanaw na yung mga bata diha bahilo pa gausa sa ninyo nga practice sa Cebuano nga magsulob og kanang mga bronze rings on the private organ. No, so grabe ka detailed na iyang mga ethnography. Ang katong gi-describe niya ang mga idols sa Cebu, which means clearly dili Muslim ang Cebuano. No matter if many people will say nga the Sultanate of Cebu, dakwa ayaw magtuwa na. Pigafetta, all the Muluchis, the other authors clearly state that we were animist, that there were so many idols, that in some areas there was human sacrifice pagani going on. Mo niya mo Hindu and all that. Maybe a little influence, but I don't know if the Hindus make human sacrifices. No. Anyway, next slide, please. So, okay. Mag-trivia ta? Pahuway ta kajot. Kaya taas naman yung oras. Kasi mawala na yung mga tao. Okay na ni, trivia. Dili. Wala pa yung trivia time. Okay, let's proceed. No? So now, katawanon pag ining nahitabo. Kaya pag adto, manang pirmang kontrata, 15-18, naugdahin silang Magellan o Falero sa Seville. Yeah. Kaya dito man mag-andam sa barko, kung tako kayo ng sapa. No? What is that river? Guadalquivir. Dako kayo sapa. Nya, dito sus, pag-adto niya, way barko. Nya, ang kasa de kontratasyon, reklamo nga, kasi may naghatag ninyong mga kontrata. Nga nung gahatag mo mga, kontrata patakal na kaning batanon nga hari, 18 pa edad, patakalag pamirma ni. Sukol ang kasa de la kontratasyon nga. Kung sumutong na yung mga adjustments gibuhat, niya, the king allowed na kung anong sa name na preparations. Unya, nakuha nga ng kwarta, so doon ay mga private nga investors nga eventually nakakuha na gyud og mga barko. 5 kabok ang uban ano nila. Maayo mulotawra, no? Do not think that all of these were brand new boats. They were not brand new boats, no? They were not brand new caravels or what are called caracks. Dili ni galyon, no? Caravel pa ni sila. Gagmay mubo. No, murag mga lansya nga tag 30 feet ang gidakpan layon. So 5 ang na-porma. The lead ship, Kapitania, the Kapitania was the Trinidad, where Magellan was the captain. He was also the pilot, I think. Who was the pilot? No, I'm not sure. And then Santiago, which was under Juan Serrano. The Victoria, which would turn back, was initially under Luis de Mendoza, who would participate in the mutiny of the captains and would be killed immediately up within hours of the mutiny. The Concepcion, which was also handled by another mutineer later, Gaspar Quesada or Gaspar de Quesada. And then the San Antonio, headed by the lead mutineer, Juan de Cartagena. No? So, okay, next slide, please. Amo na mga barko di ay na drawing ay. Nangita ko sa source, hindi na ko makita, so wala siyang source. Now, so this is the route that Magellan took. This is from the Encyclopedia Britannica online. No? So, ayon ninyo kopyaha kay wala ba tayo. Fair use man kay. Wa may bayad ni nga lecture. So pwede na nato magamit. Pero kung inyo ning gamito niya, inyo ibaligya, bayad mo sa Encyclopedia Britannica. Okay. So now, let's go through the timeline. No? Okay? Go through the timeline. Okay. Di man ni, tagsa-tagsaon man tani. Kuha man ni kabuk, maabot man ni alas 8 sa gabi ang atong timeline. So let's proceed to the next slide. Next slide. Okay, now, on 10 August 1519, the 5 ships depart from Seville. Now, by the way, na ako'y 5, 7 ka iro diri nga gusto mo appeal sa lecture usahay. So, pagot ni sila kada na mo agi sa balay nga sakyanan ni nana. So, you just forgive these dogs, no? Pray for them nga di sila magka-COVID sa gabi. Anyway, so, on 10 August, after the ceremony sa simbahan, where was this church? I went to this church in Triana. Near Seville, in the suburbs of Seville, Santa Maria. I forgot that. There was this ceremonia at Iglesia de Santa Maria de la Victoria, where the Magellan and members of the crew could attend the day before, where kanang kuan nagpadala ang king sa standarte nga flag sa nga dadon ni Magellan, gipresent sa corregidor of Seville, the mayor ba karon sa Seville, and gipakis of fealty niya kanang na bang ako Magellan ko ana dala na ko in behalf of the king of Spain, blah blah blah, and I renounce all of any other nationalities, blah blah blah, whatever I conquer for the king of Spain, blah blah blah. Ana. So pag human seremonya sakay na is barko. Yes, sapa. If you've been to Cebu, gwapo kay nang ilang nakuho kay sapa. Yeah, bisag pila ka barko. No, although dili na pwedeng cruise ships karon ba nga barkong dagko magato. Okay, so on 20 September 1519 naog na sila, gawas na sila sa river. They reached Sanlúcar de Barrameda, Tumoy, and then from there they departed on 20 September 1519, and then they reached Tenerife, the Canary Islands. If you are a tourist, milyonaryo ka, taga-Amerika ka, taga-Europe, adto ka sa Canary Islands. Mo na Boracay nila dito nga. Times 100 ang price. Imong bino, times 100 tanan. Mahal kayo ng Canary Islands. I've never been there. No? Kaya di ko ka-afford yan. Wako'y kwarta. So, there they took provisions. Barato pa ni anang time ang ilang mga provisions. So, sa may ilang mga provisions, mga biscuit. No? Biscuit, mga buhi nga baboy. Kaya kini nga mga barko, magbuhi pa sila baboy until mahurot ang baboy o kaon. No? Katong baboy ka na yung anak, swerte, dili kaonon. Pero eventually, ka na mga baboy, mahurot pa sila kaon. They would have brought a few cows on board, 1 or 2, but eventually, ihawon gina ni mong baka, kaya mukha akong mag-appeal sa imong pagkaon. Niya, mga karne nga kanang, excuse me, kanang gitapa. So, manang, we have tapa, kuha man na, kusahos ang tawag, katsila, may ganito. Kasahos, sounds very Spanish. Spaniards ang ka-introduce ana. I think unya kay karne man i-dry niya, smoke nga mga fish, no? Now, when they left Tenerife between 26 September to 3 October 1595, diretso na sa Brazil, kay explored naman yung part of South America. Nabot na Columbus 1492 sa America. Diba niya, Amerigos Vespucci reaches the continent and calls it America for himself. I mean, in his honor, no? He does not call it. Someone calls it in his honor, the Amerigos Vespucci. You know? Anyway, so diretso sa Brazil, but on the way between 26 September and on the way to St. Augustine in Brazil, Port Cape Santo Agostinho, or St. Augustine in Brazil. For 1 month, they reached dead water in the Atlantic. Well, you know what dead water is? Kung sailboat ka, dili mulupa mudagan imong barko kay way hangin. Unya, di man ni mabugsay ning mga barko ha. No, di man ni sila mga man o war. Mga Portuguese man o war nga na pwede bugsayon. So maghuwat gid mo, magtuyok na ang barko. Tanaw ra mo sa kabuhan ana niya. Mura mo gi-quarantine ba pero mura mo gi-quarantine diha sa Alaska mambaling, wala electric fan, wala TV, wala tanan, no, kamura gyud, tinanaway tanan, no, kapoy tanaw, anak. So niinit ning ulo ni Juan de Cartagena. Labi na kay niingon ni Magellan, magrasyon ta, kaya wala na bitay irog-irog sa dagat, rasyon na to na itong pagkaon, so gikontrol ang pagkaon sa biskwit, sa kaning tapa, sa kasahos, kaning sweetmeats, no? Kay 1 month mong tutuyok mo, kibaas, sige maglutaw-lutaw diyan, away irog-irog, tutuyok ko na, kirasyon. Suko, niya after pag humag 1 month, naigo pag islag bagyo, so napuno slag tubig, suko ni si Juan de Cartagena, yung siya nga, wala ni kibaw sa Magellan as tapadong. So this is his first attempt at a mutiny. Ning plot siya nasakpan ni Magellan. Gipatay iyang duha ka tawo ni Cartagena. No, I will not talk of the reasons why because it's too below the belt anyway. Unya, you'd have to email me or whatever, what happened really there, what was the pretext. And then, ipriso ni siya, uyog ni Mendoza. Mendoza later, kapitan sa Concepcion, would later actually plot with Juan de Cartagena. I think by the time ipriso ni siya, under ni Mendoza, nagkasinamtanay ni sila nga, di gani, maklaro gani nga, way padun gani, biyahi ato ni Patyon sa Magellan niya maulit ta Spain anyway na. So abot sila sa St. Agustin on 29 October they took on provisions. Ang instruction ni Magellan ni anata sa Portuguese territory. Dili ta pwede munaog para mag halubilo mag-unsa diya mamalit ra gitag pagkaon that's allowed mag-trade ng palit. And then they went down to Rio de Janeiro on 13 December 1519 again to take on caulking, no? Kana bitang kana murag espalto ba nga pilit itom tar kay i-caulk sa barko para dili masudlag tubig, no? Ana. Next slide please. Okay, so on 27 December biya sila sa Rio de Janeiro adto sila sa Rio de la Plata. Originally kanang Rio de la Plata daghan kay Portuguese explorers Vasco da Gama, sila Solis. Gutot nga naa gini agianan padung sa Picas side. Everybody knew that there was an ocean, a Pacific, ever since Balboa went to Panama and walked to the other side of the Isthmus of Panama. And he saw an ocean and he says, naalagi gamay nga bay sa Picas. And many people thought nga gamay kay na siya nga bay, including Magellan probably. So dali ra ni pag humana to nanaday mulukas sa unahan. Walang makita ni Balboa. So everybody knew that there was an ocean at the other side. Nobody knew if that ocean was reachable by sea. Alangan na mag-alsahon nimo imong mga barko sa Panama, mulakaw kag 43 kilometers. May man karon kailan na may Panama Canal, no, mulakaw kag 47 ba na ka kilometers. On land bisan pag usaon na nimo alsa bungkago na nimo barko nimo nang i-reconstruct dito sa Darien, the opposite settlement in Panama that faces the Pacific Ocean. So, pag-abot na sa Rio de la Plata, mauna na ang pinaka-last na point, I think, nga na-explore sa mga Portuguese. So, from there, they went down to, the last port that was explored was Port San Julian. By this time, winter na, tugnaw na kaayo, no? Around 31 March 1520, bugnaw na, kunya, paniagi pa sila sa Bahia de los Patos. You know why it's called Bay of the Ducks? Kaya pag-agi nila, daghan kuno kayong seals o mga pato. Taga na, unsay gibuhat sa crew ni Magellan sa mga pato? Ilang gihimong pet? No. Ilang gipang ihaw o gipang kaon. Pero tingad-tingali sa kadaghan sa pato, wa mahurot. No? Mo ni siya kanang mga pato nga mulupad. Kay kuha man ni kanang migratory, kanang itong, kanang pato sa dagat, kanang pato nga mukaon diha sa dagat. Tapit. No? Kanang colorful kay nga mga pato. Okay, next. So wintering sila sa Port San Julian, 5 months na sila mo stay. And in these 5 months, nagplot na si Kuan within kay i-announce sa Magellan pag-abot yun March 31. Okay, pahuway ta diri at the entrance to the bay, to the river. the port of San Julian River, the port of San Julian. Pahuay ta diri kay tugnaw na kaayo frozen na kanang kuana. Kining unsa na di na pwede mo diretso kay you're already in the southern tip of South America. This is already near the South Pole. No? Agoy the following day, plat dayon si Cartagena. Now, you must understand, nga naman is Cartagena kasi gimaling plat. Right from the start, ang mga Spanish nga mga crew, dili gyud ganahan sa idea nga Portuguese ang nag-lead nila. Even if in history, the best sailors, whether you like it or not, were Portuguese because they were already sailing way ahead of the Spanish sailors. They were already mapping the east. They were already in India even before the Spaniards arrived. No, so and they were in Central America, in South America. Brazil was already claimed by Portugal. So Vasco da Gama was in India, Balboa was in one expert in Portuguese. Di ka na mga katsila. Murang nagtaga Manila mo, anhi diri niya, i-quarantine tatanan. Di ka na mga Cebuano. Muni karon, kaya naman yung taga Manila man nga, di man kita mo quarantine sa kaugalingon. Nagahit pag kita gulo, inana ba? So, muning sitwasyon na to. Nana karon mo na, maugin yung sitwasyon na di ay. Ang wala lang tayo Juan de Serrano nga nag-plot. Maybe na. Anyway, Juan de Serrano sa sinugdanan pa, na ganang Magellan. He was kunhunto at in the contra, doon ay sedula yung gipa-issue ka sa King of Spain nga ipatangtang si Roy Falero kay buang initulo niya dali kay magsuko niya masakiton natangtang yun si Falero ug gipuli si Juan Serrano ug gikunhunta personal ni Magellan conjoined sila administration Admiral si Magellan, Vice Admiral si hala ni balik ang slide Vice Admiral si Juan Serrano, pero gahig-o ni si Serrano. Cebuano, Juan de Cebuano. Kini si Juan de Serrano, gahig-ulo. Every night, musignal na ang pupa ni sa barko ni Magellan, tos magpasiga og suga, or dili suga, magpasiga og torch or lamp, signaling nga all is well, before matug. Kunya dapat ang kapitan sa sunod nga barko, which is the second ship, Juan Serrano, mo pasiga sa na niya mo reply sa di gid na niya buhaton. Klaro na kay sa sinugdanan pa nga gahi ginig ulo si Serrano. Mag Cebuano kahig-o, no? Mugawas bisag dili pag-awson, dili mag social distancing, no? So sinugdanan pa lang sa San Lucar para may mabuang ko aning election. Anyway, let's proceed to the so mo na ni nag-mutiny na sila. Ang kapitan sa Concepcion, ang kapitan sa Santiago si Serrano, Concepcion si Mendoza, o ang Victoria ning mutiny. Si Magellan nakabantay na. You know why nakabantay si Magellan? Dili tanang crew sa expedition Spaniards o Portuguese. In fact, in the cedula removing Roy Falero as a member of the expedition, ang kunhunta personal, conjoined authority ni Magellan. Dunay instruction sa king nga ipatangtang ang tanang Portuguese, but they could not find other sailors. So ning relent ang king nga sige okay ra na po ka Portuguese, but actually sa crew ni Magellan 30 ka buok ang Portuguese. Doon na pag-iusang pag umangkon niya ug usa or duha, one or two were actually kining illegitimate children kuno ni Magellan from previous women. Kay if you're 39 years old, so nakagi tingali kag mga babae nga nakapaanak nimo, sige tingali, no? Anak kung apa man ka maminyo. So dunay duha, kuan is Joaquin Ravelo who died beside him in the battle of Mactan, and a nephew, no, nephew. So and then so many Greeks, daghan kay Greek, nani siya mga Greeks kato si Albo si Greek, dunay mga lain-lain nga mga nationalities, nga mga sailors, nga mga maayo kayo. Kini sila ang ninglaban ni Magellan, dili kana sa mga katsila. Kay ngano man kailan mo katsila until now. So lain lang mo apply og visa sa Spanish consulate, lisod-lisoron mo. Bisag may ingong ginatanang OFW, mo apply gani kag visa to Europe, ayaw gyud adto Spanish consulate kay maldito kay nang upaw diha nga konsulador nila No, ambot na pa ba kay gireklamo na namo ni Danny Hirona ng reklamo. Danny Hirona, the author of the Ferdinand Magellan and the Armada de Maluco, ni reklamo gina sa ambasador nga na kay konsul diha o nga maldito kayo nga inig issues visa iyang tan-aw nimo kawatan ka or na kay plano dito nga mo TNT sa Espanya. Ano ito mag TNT ta dito? No, inana. Anyway, that's an aside. But if the people and the embassy are watching now, they better consider carefully that consular official. Anyway, upaw to siya. Kung pag-apply na mo in 2016, kami ni Father John, giingnan pa ka sa Father John nga, saan ka? Pari, magug ka, gianaan, majid. Anyway, so, mga katsila, inanag kinaiya, mga arrogante, ginasla, inana. So, ang mga foreigners di kanahan dito, laban ni Magellan. Kung paglaban lang Magellan, may istorya sila nga, di ay tulo ka kapitan ni mo, gas, plat na. So, kaning tulo ka kapitan, ilang gi-convince ang pilot o kapitan sa San Antonio. So, kay tulo naman sa kabarko, iadto sa San Antonio, i-convince na, wala makonvince ang kapitan, ilang gi, dongga, patay. Ang pilot, patay. Ang pag-umangko ni Magellan nga naa dito, forgot his name. Wait, I forgot his name. His name is somewhere here. Ilang gi preso, si Alvaro de Mezquita. Ilang gi preso. While gi preso na nila dito sa ubos, ning abot ng usa ka sloop gamay nga vapor, gipadalang Magellan to investigate what was going on. And wa sila kabantay. Ingon ning mga foreigners nga nasa babaw nga mga sailors nga, na mga katsila sila may gaplano og kudita, no, gaplano nga pulihan ka, pulihan sa Magellan, balik din sila dito, sulti din sila Magellan. Yeah, by then, nanggawas na ang tulo ka kapitan, balik na sa silang mga kapitan ni Aylang mga barko, ingon din sa Magellan, send this letter to Mendoza on the Victoria. But as soon as he accepts the letter, bunggaba na yun. So, tuod man, hatag ang letter, why sulod, letter to Mendoza, kuno hagikan ni Magellan, dunggab des Mendoza, patay na yun ang kapitan sa Victoria, nakuha na yun ang Victoria, na angkon na yun ni Magellan. And then, nahunong ang, nagidakop na yun si Juan de Cartagena sa mga foreigners, tingali nga, loyal ni Magellan, and then, kay vague kay na, si Pigafetta, he just makes one paragraph of this entire mutiny as if wani pahinungdan ni nga event din na ko istoryahon. Whereas you find in I think in Bautista and in Gaspar Correa a very detailed account of what happened. And then si Mendoza patay na, si katong sa Concepcion gidakop silang duha, si Quesada gidakop, a hearing was held and 5 days later the punishment, si Quesada potandi o putol ang lawas, bitay, ay labay-labay, no? Labay mga lawas, labay, quartered. Si Mendoza patay na, si Cartagena, kauban niya usa ka French nga priest nga ni-appeal sad sa mutiny, exiled on an island. There are two stories. He was exiled on an island, the other is he was rescued. But there is no story of that rescue. Wala gid siya kaabot balik sa Spain. So the possibility is he was really exiled on an island, tagaag provisions with a priest, unya nga ni-appeal sa tagaag armas. So at least siya swerte kay na siya pare, nagabot sa mga Indians nga moihaw gyud og puti, niapot lagliog nga kung saon pa ka diha, at least nasa pare nakaampo na siya. Anyway, so na siya nitabo. So at the end of April 1520, Magellan sends to Santiago down south. This is now terra incognita. This is now unexplored land. He goes down south and they reach Cabo de 11,000 Virgenes. The Cape, I think near the Cape of 11,000 Virgins. Abot sila diha. Igos lang bagyo, nagguba. Ang Santiago, namatay isa ka Ethiopian slave. Kaya apparently, there was a Negro boy, Ethiopian slave nga dala nila, maoray nalunod. All the rest nakabalik by land to Cape San Julian to report nga wa sila kaabot sa tumoy. Okay. They didn't reach the end of South America. Next slide. Naroon sa naman eh. Hello? Oh, okay. So on July 1520, the longest stopover at Port San Julian ended in July 1520. And then this is the time when you have this unbelievable story of Pigafetta that they found along the route in Argentina, in a place that they eventually called Patagonia, after the Greek stories of giants called Patagonia. And then they were called, ay, mo rin yung mga describe sa mga Greeks 1,000 years ago in their legends nga there are giants. Ingon si Magellanic, ay Pigafetta in his chronicle, 10 feet, 10 spans high kuno. You must understand, these were probably, according to scholars, Tehuelche Indians who were 6 feet tall. 6 feet tall. They nomadic ni siya Indians, very good at hunting, and ate a lot of meat and probably a lot of milk. A lot of iron and protein. So taas ni sila, they were 6 feet. And at this time, you must understand, the average Spanish height was about 5'2", and 5'4", 5'5". My height. So if you're looking at someone at 6 foot, no? So Pigafetta, probably to make his chronicle more saleable, by the time he published his book in 1536, there were so many other books already around about the Magellan expedition. So what more? Well, how more to sell your book? Yung versions. When then to put a few giants there, and in fact they brought one of these. They baptized him and called him Paul, but he died along the way. They wanted to bring him to Spain to show that there are people who are taller than us. Nga inosente kuno kaayo when gipusasan na mo tanaw sa pusas ana wag yung kailag pusas, things like that. Anyway, they eventually departed and reached Rio de Santa Cruz, no? And from there they went to the Cape of 11,000 Virgins. The Cape of 11,000 Virgins, no, or the Cabo de las Virginas, is actually the entrance to what would later be called the Cape, the Cape of the November 11 Strait, and later would be called the Strait of Magellan. But because Magellan enters it on November 11, November 2, All Saints Day, it's called the All Saints Day Cape, the Strait of All Saints Day, which we will find in the next slide. All Saints Strait. Next slide. Yeah. Wait, not on. Yeah, okay. So, Magellan arrives at the cape which would lead to the strait later named Strait of Magellan. The Strait of Magellan, if you look at is a very difficult strait even until now. When ships enter the strait, it's about 450 miles long, so it's about 1,000 kilometers long to go to the Pacific. And here you are already near the North Pole, the North or the South Pole. And so it's in areas, kung di ka timing frozen na siya. No? And inigabot yun na sa area where all these currents meet at the south. Lihok ang tubig na. They almost did not survive. When they entered, nagbuwag sila kay naay murag fork on the so many small islands there. Ang San Antonio gipauna, lain nga rota ang ubang ships. But in the San Antonio, there is a minor mutiny led by I forgot his name, who imprisons, kay gi-appoint man ni Magellan iyang pag-umangkon si Mezquito to be the captain of the San Antonio. Gidakop na siya, and talawan maning mga members aning barko, gidakop siya, o gipa-turn back ang San Antonio. Ning uli ni sa Spain. The San Antonio returned to Spain. In fact, they returned in 1521. The following year, they were able to go back to Spain and were arrested. Girakop ni sila tanan, including si Mezquito. Kay huwaton ang fleet ni Magellan mo balik to find out what really happened with the San Antonio. The San Antonio came back by sulod nga spices, of course. So so ding sulod sila, and on 28 September or 26 days later, Magellan views the Pacific Ocean for the first time. And what does he see? A very calm ocean. Wala may bagyo when he enters. No, walay Ruping, walay Yolanda. So it's very smooth. And what does he call the ocean? Pacifico. No, the quiet and the serene ocean. No? Which actually is a misnomer because all typhoons, super typhoons, and hurricanes come from cyclones come from the Pacific Ocean. Next slide. Next slide. Natulog naman itong natulog na mo diha. Okay. And then here there is the problem. This is the first thing you will realize. Ano ka, no? It is clear from the maps, from the description of where the Moluccas and Malacca lie. It's south of the equator. Magellan coasts the Pacific and moves north of the equator. This is a diversion. Why did Magellan divert? There is a possibility that he was instructed by King Carlos I to look for the land of Ophir, kanang sa Solomon, the legend of Solomon, which was instructed to the Loaiza expedition. It was not identified here in the contract ni Magellan, but the suspicion of scholars is that included in his route was to explore the land of Ophir and Tarshish in the biblical land of Solomon, which was full of gold and spices. No, that was believed to be by the Spaniards and the Portuguese to be Zipango, today known as Japan, and Formosa, today known as Taiwan. So, ning saka siya, ning divert siya, they reached a small island called Puka Puka, which they did not call. It is probably the island of Puka Puka. And then after that, no, they have landfall there, and nobody around. They probably took water, and from there they go to Guam. In the next 3 months, between November to January, where they reach landfall, scurvy appears. Kanang scurvy nga disease sa mga seafarers at the time na matambalan ra gyud. Simple kay mukaon ra kag prutas mo, vitamin C, mukaon ra kag fruits. Mukaon ra kag kanang prutas, especially kanang lemon, citrus, makawa og scurvy. At the time mo sa Kibaw, no, mga matay ra gyud taon ang mga tao. In fact, when Magellan lands in Cebu, he asks humabon 2 days later, pwede mi mulubong og duha ka patay. Namo, those 2 died of scurvy. No? So sige nakamatay. Then they arrived after taking in water about 6 weeks later in the Marianas, most probably in Guam, where as they traded and climbed ning mga natives nga Chamorro sa mga barko ni Magellan ug nangawat sa mga putaw ug uban pang mga butang. So namiya sila hastily kay kuya hadlok sila kay Mimus Magellan nga ayaw patya, dili ta manghilabot sa mga natives. I have instructions not to harm the natives. Let's leave unya harm the natives unless provoked. Let's leave unya dito. Yun siya, di na ta mamalik anang isla. Or aron hinudo mo ta tawag ko ng Islas de los Ladrones, or the island of Isla de los Ladrones, the island of thieves, which is Guam. No? Now, 10 days doon na gyud kaayo, no? Kay pila ra gud ang trip sa Guam, mag-eroplano karon mga 2 ka oras. So, 10 days later, they arrived in the Philippines on an island, a small island na aning nabitin. And then eventually, a few hours later, they go to Suluan. And then later, they go to Humonhon until eventually they reach the island of, eventually they meet mga karakowa nga dagko kayo ni Raja Colombo, whom Pigafetta describes as kanang kuan kuno kay lawas, gwapo kay lawas, kanang kuan kay prim and proper kay nga chief nga nagdagko kay gold sa dunggan. Padung sila sa Masawa kay parente ni Colombo ang head of Masawa, agaw ba to na si Awi ang Awi nga kani si Pigafetta, tanan nga si ipang sulat, si Lapu-Lapu, si Awi, si Katuna, si Kuan, nga abi niya apil na ngalan. No? So, muna mo gawa siya sa Pigafetta Chronicle. Si Awi, pero Awi, gina Awi. Si Awi, no? Igagaw o parinti ni Kulambo, taga Masawa. Herein begins the controversy. Asam ginang Masawa, li Masawa or Kuan. I will not dwell on that, but the official Kuan, NHCP decision, also NHI, it's in Limasawa. Third, 15 leagues from Sulu, from Homonhon. No? Okay, so there, 31st March 1521, they had a first mass, Easter Mass, on land in Limasawa. The photo is that of Limasawa on the eastern side. Wait, this is the eastern side, yeah. Where you have the town of, appropriately named, Magallanes, where it is believed the first mass was held. Next slide. I'm about to end now. Okay. The route, so April 7, a few days later, they in Masawa or Limasawa, whether it's in Butuan or Limasawa, Magellan asked, if I were to take to trade, to buy things, provisions, spices, things like that, asa magkumuad to? The king of Butuan says, you have to go to Cebu. That's the central port now, that where every other islands, they dump their products there. So, Magellan decides around April, 3 days man nga travel nila. 3 or 2 days. April 5, thereabouts, 4, to travel. Unya, ingon si Kulambo, kuyugan ta mo. I will guide you, but for some reason, they reached bye-bye. Unya, si Kulambo, hinay, kayang karakuha. Kanang karakuha, 200 na kabuk bubugsay. Apparently, we do not know what happened, but I think Kulambo sent a small ship to warn Humabon to prepare your soldiers there, kay naay mo abot nga katsila nga kaning dagko kay barko murag mga Portuguese, pareha sa mga Portuguese nga inana, kaya aware naman sila na probably unya kanang to prepare nya mo nang gihuwat nila sa baybay nya. They coasted the northern part of the bay of Leyte and passed by Camotes Islands and Pigafetta and Olivera and all the others identified the 3 Camotes Islands. Mo nang kanang muklaim nga ang Mactan is the site of the Battle of Mactan is incorrect because Pigafetta already identifies the Camotes Islands and he differentiates them from Mactan, which he sees as adjacent to Cebu and identifies it immediately as adjacent to Cebu. So imposible nga ang Battle of Mactan dito sa Mactan sa Poro kay klaro kayo gi-explain ni Pigafetta nga padugay-dugay mo migpaagi sa mga tao ni Kulambo, gipatuyok miglayo, naabot mig 3 kadlaw o 2 kadlaw usa mi niabot sa Cebu, no? Probably to warn Humabon. So true enough, April 7 abot si Magellan sa Cebu. Ang dayon gimit ni Humabon, as the story goes, Humabon naog si Enrique de Malacca together with Duarte Barbosa, pag kasing in-law ni Magellan. They meet in a open space, most probably kanang Plaza Sugbo karon nga naa ang City Hall, nya nagstorya din sila. Nagpabuto og kwan, pabuto kanang salot. Ayaw mo kadok, alauna sa hapon na, imagine na, makadungog kag buto-buto nga sa kanyo ni alauna sa hapon, di ka kami na, uy, unsan na ni? Na may dalog-dog og kilat. So anyway, abot sila on niya. Storya, ang prince ang niatubang. Prince, mao ni ang pag-umangkon ni Humabon nga naminyo sa iyang anak. So doon na di ay mga incest aning panahon na mag unay-unay ra ang mga chiefs. No, why problema. So this would be tupas in the future. 18 pa idadaan niya nga prince. Young prince. I-describe ni Pigafetta. Unya, entertain sila. Unya, hangyo sila, pwede ba may mulubong? So, niya we are here to trade. Kajot rami diri, blah, blah, blah. Ambot nga nung, so it's in the inquiry, nga nung nagdugay man si Magellan sa Cebu, nga it was just to take on provisions. Kusog man kayong Cebuano mo palit og lansang in exchange for gold o bugas ug mga pagkaon ug mga baboy kay importante ang lansang himuong sundang. Tong ipanday. Ang gold di na nimo himuong sundang kay humok kay na inigdunggab nimo patay kas gadunggab nimo kadag sundang kay patyon putlon imong kamot kwaon ang gold. It's the nails that were important, and the Spaniards were very shocked na huy giatay kamahal ni nagpinalit sa nails pila katimbang nga gold nuggets ilang ipalit for one piece of nail. Niyo si Magellan nga ayaw mong saba, ayaw mong pa-obvious diya nga barato kay ning nails niya. So mo nang ipahunong niya mga samin, mga unsa pa na all those things. So the question is, ganun nagdugay ka sa Magellan? I think the primary reason would have been because Magellan was a devout Catholic, and doon na siya desire to convert. He was doing this conversion, I think. And that's what delayed, because by April 14, namunyag man siya. Namunyag man si Pedro de Valderrama. Bunyagan ang mga tao ni humabon ng mga lalaki sa buntag. Bunyagan ang asawa ni humabon ng mga babae in the afternoon. And then many days, succeeding days, all the allies of humabon, and those allies are about 11 of them. They are identified by Pigafetta. Lalan, Liloan, there's one of two from Mandaue, Teteo, unsa to mga ngalan until Kotkot or Compostela, and then in Talisa it describes ang mga inana. No? So they're all baptized except one who did. So di ko recognize mo kuno diha. Mas taas man ko kaysa anang humabon. That is, of course, Lapu-Lapu. Now, there were 3 or 2 chiefs in Mactan, and one of these chiefs sent his son, si Sula, kay niingon na sumabon nga. Tanan akong alay, paghatod mo mga pagkaon, kaya ito ihatag ni Magellan atong bagong alay and protector. Defend nato. Sus, gadara duha ka kanding. Ingon na di mi kadagdaghang kanding kay naay moagi mi naay chief, the chief of Opon, according to Portuguese records, and Danny Hirona's Armado de Moluco, the first one. He suspects that the chief of that settlement of Opon was where Lapu-Lapu was. Kay moagi man gyud ka kung padung ka Cebu, no? Magian nimo. Unya pugnan ko no sila from bringing all their produce to Cebu City, to Sugbo, by this chief. So ingos Magellan, nung sa din yung sitwasyon diha, Magellan went against the rules sa king. Never engaged in petty struggles, petty fights, which he did in Guam, but he didn't do in Cebu. We don't know why. He made conversions in Cebu. No, na-impress tingali ka siya sa Cebu, ka na bang, di tingali ka ang Subuanon, unlike karon. So, according to Manila, to President Duterte, tingali kay gaygo. So, na-impress tingali siya sa Cebuanon. He stayed here, converted, and he decided, let us show the force of Spain to that chief. So, first they burned the town of Opon, the settlement, which angered Lapu-Lapu. He moved back to Punta Engaño, where he established a small base probably there. And that's 3 days before the Battle of Mactan. He burned ang usa ka settlement, Buaya, and I think Opon or something. And then the battle ensued. Kanina mo na niya ang istorya na yun. Everyone's familiar. 3 hours ang travel, alas 12 nagsugod, abot sila kadlaw, niingon si kining si humabon nga ayos dili sa tamo gubat waton sa natong ahayag. Then so the battle ensued, nakaland sila una, gisunog nilang mga balay, nasukog sa Mount Lapu-Lapu, atake sila tanan. 2 flanks were made. First flank, maayo pa kay away-away nilang Magellan. Ako'y nikalit og gawas. Second flank on the other side. This is indigenous military defense system, no? A second flank on the other side. Siya nas Magellan, retreat na siya, wala siya time ka-retreat, no? Katibulaag silang 50 kabuok. Nabilin sa Magellan, igo yang kuan, nahug yung helmet, naigo bato, niya naigo siya, lance, and nga poison niya lance, niya tumba siya face forward first, then naigo lance, niya gitabangan siya, and then what's it? And then he was quartered by the people of Mactan. Eventually, Enrique is supposed to have told Humabon, you need to save face, and the only way to save face from your allies, that the Spaniards cannot defend you, is to poison them. So he invited them to a banquet on May 1, 1521. I think, according to Pigafetta, 33 attended. According to Oliveira, 36 attended. And 18 stayed behind to watch the ships. Among those who stayed is Elcano, of course. Yeah, and Unsani? And Pigafetta. How did Enrique instigate this kuan? Gipatiran magkukuno ng tiil ni Enrique. Gipatiran na naigo siya. Gipatiran ni I forgot his name. I think ni Elcano or one of these Spaniards patiran nga kanang adto dito, go to Humabon and tell him that we will depart na. Yeah, pag abot niyang Humabon, ingon siya mga bubuang ni mga katsila. Let's kill them or something, whatever, with the interpreter of Humabon. And so the plot happened. 33 were brought to the banquet. And then si Pedro, nakanotice ang usa si Duarte, si Kisabanin pa notice, kalimot ko nga. He noticed na gipatindog man si Pedro Valderrama before the start of the meal. Kung niya gikuha sa vizier, sa kaning advisor ni Magellan, katong ani Humabon, katong nahil ni Humabon. No, unya sa iyang rosewood ug katong ampo ugida dito sa iyang balay. And so namasakar tanan, atras sila. Only 2 ships could move out. Juan Serrano, I think, asked na please save me. Nakahubo na siya. Agi-intaw ko ninyo ingon na nahadlok yun si kinsaning Esteban mo yung unang kapitan, nahadlok yun siya nga ug ipaduol niya ang barko, kwaon si Serrano, puno sila mga native. So pasagdan gyud nila nga na pag-ampo na lang diha pre. Ito na mi. Sorry gyud kaayo. Kay mga talawan gyud ni gyud mo save nimo. So move out sila. And then somewhere near Maribuhok no, they scuttled the Concepcion. Kay the Concepcion was very decrepit already pag-abot si Cebu. So ilang gikuha ang mga supplies na adito, isunog nila somewhere near Maribuhok. And there was supposed to be a search for that. Karon unya natag COVID. Anyway, so wa man dayon. Unya they moved to Palawan, Mindanao, Palawan, and eventually to Brunei. Okay? Next slide. So taas ang istorya, habi na kung 30 minutes na. Now, so on September 21, they appointed they reached Brunei, and eventually they reached Tidor. At Tidor, September 21, along the way in Brunei, they appointed on martial anniversary 21 September 1521, Juan Sebastian de Elcano was appointed captain of the Victoria. Trinidad nabilin ang usa ka captain. Around 5th November 1521, they arrived at Tidor in the Moluccas. They completed they were already, if Magellan arrived here, he would have already completed the circumnavigation. No? Kaya gikam siya din nga area. And then, so they started purchasing in Tidor these spices. Unsa man ang mga spices? Nadarao, sangig, cinnamon, there's nutmeg, and there are cloves. Kaning gagmay bitaw makita ninyo. Murag mga buwak, cloves na siya. Okay. And then on 29 December, after loading, the Trinidad Victoria departed. Trinidad stays for repairs. Kaya muapas na siya. Next slide. Next. And then completing the circumnavigation, January, Victoria arrives in Timor, and then they depart at 6 April 15, depart to Trinidad. The Trinidad departs, turns back 5 weeks later, gidakop sa Portuguese ang tanan nga mga kuan kay moapas ang tanya. After passing by the Cape of Good Hope, Victoria arrives at Cabo Verde and eventually at Elcano and 17 others complete the circumnavigation, arriving at Sanlúcar de Barrameda on 6 September 1522. Next slide, please. Okay, so what in between nga trivia? Wala? Okay. So, after the aftermath of the expedition, of course, there was an inquiry to find out, and then they were able to sell the spices. Wala na. Unsa may significance sa expedition? Well, of course, we know that this was the start of the discovery of the westerly route. This would also usher in the colonization of the Philippines, the introduction of the Santo Niño, giving it to Queen Juana, Ate Juana, would eventually start the firm devotion of the Cebuanos to the Santo Niño. And then that's it. Yeah. And then for Spain, and then let me conclude. Let me thank the acknowledgement na Casa Gorodo, of course, for hosting this. Sugbo is Museo, and the Gabii sa Kabilin Secretariat. They're all chatting here. You can see them. The Central Visayas Association of Museums, Miss Heidi Palapar spoke earlier. Arlene Patak, who was the voiceover of the video. Cecilia Cabañas, the curator at Museo Sugbo, the curator of USC Museum, Regina Yoma, and Miss Marty Ibanez, the Provincial Tourism Officer of the province, and of course, Governor Gwen, who's very busy fighting COVID right now. Okay, thank you very much. That's it. Mana.
Hey, hello. Sir Jobers, daghan kaayong salamat for the very fascinating lecture. No, it's not your usual lecture. It's boring. It also set our knowledge and understanding of this part of our history straight. I could see it actually in the comments, sir. Daghan kaayo nga na straighten nga info. Yeah, it's comprehensive as it could be, providing backgrounds and context. And yeah, we don't mind the side story, sir, because that's what makes history more intriguing and interesting. Sama sa suwang ni Carlos the First, gadaghan kay comments, sir. Besides, your quips, sir, are hilarious. Yeah, especially ana imong mga bihirit nga ang Subuanon gahigulo. But it's obvious that history is a passion of Sir Jobers. You can see it actually in the gabing gestures ni Sir, no? Onya, we can hear it actually in his storytelling. Yeah, klaro kay tabian sa gyud kay si Sir. Truly, the Magellanic expedition was dangerous, so unpredictable. But for us, no, was hearing it from the mouth of Sir Jobers, it's colorful. And it's as colorful as the comments on the webinar, which makes this webinar fun. I hope you get to see the comments, sir, kay makatawa ka. And it's through the comments that we will have questions, sir. So let's go now to the Q&A. Let's go to our first question. It says here, from Chase Steele, it says, Enrique Magellan's interpreter is the most intriguing of all the cast, para niya. I'm just curious to know your stance about whatever happened to this guy after the mutiny, or maybe after the Cato massacre, no? In Dr. Hirona's book, Ferdinand Magellan, the Armada de Maloco, and the European Discovery of the Philippines, na by page number 344. His sources cited probably Enrique transferred to another place, identified as near Consolacion Tayod, not far from the battle site at Mactan. Maybe you can talk about this a little, sir.
These are folklore. I think Kuan talks about this folklore. If you look at the footnotes on Enrique de on the book, the sources are actually folklore. And so story. There's another story that he went to Karkar. I really don't know, but he was left behind here. Was he enslaved by Humabon and sold? That is a possibility. But if he plotted together with Humabon, he would have been an important part of Humabon's court. So I don't think he went to Consolacion. My view is, if I were Humabon, here is someone who speaks the Malocan language, and there are so many Muslims from all over trading with me, he will be important in my court. So why would I ask him to go to Tayod? That's another chief, maybe an ally, of course. But maybe he says, "Adto ka sa Tayod, tagaan ti kag yuta dito." But from time to time, I will call you back because you need to interpret for me. So he was an important character.
Yeah.
I would
Mayo
have
pa sir
taken-
wala tugi.
No, I don't think he was killed because Pigafetta and all the others suspect that he was the reason why Humabon plotted. Nga,
Yeah.
sayo galing katsila pag-ilad. Ing narang kaon kay gigutom ni sila. Di ba? Sayo na biya kayo hiluan ng tao. Imo nang pati nung nagpista niya, imong butangag pagkaon. Di ba na tinuhan nato na? It's still until now in Cebu and everywhere there are places nga ayaw yung kaon kay sa kukukuno hiluan. These are stories that are indigenous. And it's so easy to poison anyone. If you don't like
Yeah.
anyone, di ba? Although I will not advise that, of course. That's criminal.
Pwede sir, bitaw. Barang lang ato sir. Anyway, we have another question is from Dilima Maria Luz. Do the shipwrecks of the four ships, did the shipwreck of the four ships that did not make the circumnavigation still exist? I think nabay na discover sa mga na shipwreck. Wala na.
The Trinidad must have been destroyed when it went back to Ternate. When it was brought by the Portuguese to Ternate, they must have scattered that. The Concepcion, there are divers. In the past, college pa ko, and after college, who told me nga, na ako ni sunog nga kill sa barko after Olango, beyond Olango. And mo man na ang area, ang suspect sa mga historians, excuse me, based on the Albo log is off the coast of Maribohok. Off the coast of Maribohok na ay diha gisunog ang Concepcion. Now if wala naman ay sail so wala na siya magdagan-dagan no kay lutaw na na stay put na siya niya until eventually nasunog siya niya ni nalunod. So it's still there. It could still be there. There was supposed to be an exploration. I was part of the team that was supposed. In fact, I asked him, "Sabi akong gamit. I don't dive. I don't know. Because I only dive in my bed. I sleep. I don't have. Yung sila nga, they need a historian probably to storya ba nga tinuod ka ni maybe. No. So the Santiago, the San Antonio was destroyed near the straits of the 11,000 virgins at the Cape, and the Trinidad was probably lost, and Concepcion. So the Victoria reached, even the Victoria was not saved. So, I mean, only the Concepcion has hope of being found, but it would not contain anything because they removed everything of importance. So cannons were removed. Cannons were probably removed because di naman loaded ang Trinidad and ang Victoria. Pila na lang, 18 na lang sila kabok. So 9 on the Victoria, 9 on the Trinidad probably. So they need load. So they loaded this with the balas, with the cannons, with things like that. So you wouldn't probably find that. And the best way to identify a shipwreck is through its cannons. Yeah, okay.
So di na gyud tingin mailhan sir no kung
Di na
makit
sunog mo na mga sunog but silted kaayo ning atong mga dagat. Diba?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. The third question from Mary Grace Lawan Melendres, just to clarify, so the first mass happened on April 14 and not April 21.
No, that's the baptism.
April 14 is the baptism.
I'm not sure of the date. Wait, what is this April 21? Yeah, April 14, that the one you see on the Magellan's Cross. I really don't understand why there is an April 21 there.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It was put in the 1960s by the Tourism Association, blah, blah, blah. Nobody actually can explain. I was asked by the National Quincentennial Commission Secretariat, why is there a date of April 21? Really not first mass, it's the baptism in Cebu, the first baptism. The first mass happened in Masawa or Limasawa in the Philippines. But the first mass, we can say, first mass in Cebu happened on April 14. Kanang 21, I really don't know who put that date. Someone may have had a mass there on April 20.
Pero dili siya of first. So, next, we have, I think, a next question before we go to our trivia. Sir Jobers from Danro, Guaren. Kailam yan eh. I am very curious about the relationship of the Rajanet of Butuan, Colombo, and the Rajanet of Cebu, Humabon. Were their political affiliations or trade affiliations lang?
Yeah, they were probably allies. But I would dissuade you from using the word Rajanate. There is no such thing as a rajanate. The concept of a rajanate is already going towards the idea of a quasi-state, centralized authority, taxation system, defense system, ruled by a Raj. Do you find that in India, where a Raj rules over what? A whole kingdom with so many petty chiefs running the marketing, the trading. That did not happen in the Philippines. We were all fighting against each other, getting slaves from one village to the other. There was no centralized authority. That is why you do not find monumental structures like in India, in Vietnam, of Hindu origin in Sumatra, in other areas. You do not find them in the Philippines. We were so disparate, disunited.
Yeah.
We had tentative alliances. And I think at this time, Kulambo, Raja Kulambo, who took on the name Raja, because that was the term used of the traders. Who is your chief? Who is kitsa yung Raja de Reina? So they copied it from the traders coming in. Everywhere we go, mo ginaamong term gamiton. So they adopted that term. It doesn't mean that you have a whole Rajanate here, a massive collection of taxes, building monuments, nothing like that. So let's dissuade the idea and erase those things kanang sa Wikipedia nga na Rajanate of Cebu. That is not correct. That is not true. I mean, let's limit ourselves to what we find in the archaeological record. And I can understand Janro must have been told of this. I do not fault your Janro, ha. So this way lang taan ng idea. So now many people are kuan ana kanang na ilad ana mga gipanghutang sa Wikipedia nga na Rajanate. So okay ra na. I don't blame you. Anyway. So allies gini sila, but the alliances were tentative. Depende ra gina. So klaro kay nga ang allies si Kulambo, si Siawi, kining 11 kabok diri sa Cebu, but not Dapitan, not Panglao, which were already established by the time Legazpi arrives. Doon na may mga gubot sa Portuguese with Dapitan and Panglao and Dawis. Clearly dili appeal sa alliances, no? Now, there is a story that the people of Mactan, Lapu-Lapu, when Legazpi arrived, went to Leyte. No, na mga storya ko na folklore sa Leyte. Nga taga Mactan nga karaan na gid kayo. That's probably because of alliances also of Lapu-Lapu's men with the people there. So tentative alliances na mo bitong gaaway ni si Humabon og si Lapu-Lapu because they were establishing alliances for trading purposes. So Janro is correct. These are alliances, affiliations for trading purposes. But these are not Rajanates. No, these are not well established. There are no strict laws. There are no written laws. And you need a written language to establish a Rajanate. And when Pigafetta arrived, Cebu did not have a written script. Wala siya kakita o baybayin sa Cebuano. That will happen when Legazpi arrives. Somebody along the way between 1521 and 1565, someone introduced writing, Sanskrit-based writing from Palembang, from Sumatra, from wherever, from Borneo, here. So we don't know where. Basta by the time Legazpi arrives, kibaw na musuwat ang mga Sugboanon.
Okay. Thank you for correcting that information in history, sir, in the history in Wikipedia.
I was supposed to do a lecture sa Cebuano Study Center on the social media and how it can be damaging. Because many people write these things and they're not historians, they don't have the theoretical background. No, I'm not saying that I should be the one doing this, but we went through a lot of theoretical studies to establish what is a quasi-state, what is a state, things like that. So we should not just play around with these terms because mauwawan ta ba when we excavate, muna lang yung Rajanate. Ana ba? No? Okay. So as of now, the jury is out. Okay. Yeah, next question. Please.
Okay, one more question before we go to the trivia. Sige. Next question, please. We're keeping, sorry, this is not it. What is this?
Is it true that upon Miguel de Velasco it was chronicled that his crew discovered some of Magellan?
Yeah,
No,
Magellan's men.
It was not Legazpi. It was not Legazpi. If it is Legazpi's time, they'd all be dead already. They'd all be dead or very old. It was the Saavedra expedition. It is in what is it? There's a book. It is in the initial encounter by T. Valentin Puerta from the Santa Maria de Paral, the lost ship of Loaiza that mutinied. He was a mutineer. So he had so many lies, but there is suspicion that he did not lie when he said that he was marooned in northern Mindanao. And in northern Mindanao, they had a lot of gold. The chiefs there wore lots of gold and so many tattoos, blah, 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 pintados in Ana. And they were told there that walo ka survivors of the Magellan, the humabon kuan kaning poison massacre survived and were sold to a Chinese junk that brought them eventually to Borneo. We do not know. According to Sitoy, there is no reason to doubt Paral bisag daghan check mga baka kay he think man nga wa siya labot mitini blah 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 na. So there is, why would he make a lie about Magellan's kuan if it's not part of his mutiny? So this must be believable. There must have been 8 survivors, 8 of the 33 ning kaon tingali kinilaw nya wa ganahi giluwa. So wa matay. Or sa tinulang ang sa mo isda.
Gisuka, sir, gisuka.
Yeah, gisuka nila no. Ana or mga kustantiyan. Ikaw ba mo kaon no 30 days pag cross ang ilang gikaon sodas og sapatos. No, on the 30 days in the Pacific, and the 3 months in the Pacific, from Pacific to Puka Island, 3 months na sila nga way makita ang island. Ilang gikaon sodas o ilang sapatos. So may nakailang mga tiyan. Tiyan sa yung poison. No? Okay.
Okay. Ikubala ng tiyan, sir. Anyway, let's sponsor kasi Deniha yung trivia. Karon, sir, magawas ng trivia. Ikaw. Si Sir Jobers actually prepared our questions for the trivia. Let's have the first trivia question. And pinaspasay sa kamot, ha? The first one who gets it right. May na lang ng 300 peso load. Especially in this time, we need to connect with others if we could not go out of our houses. Sige, where's the first question? Oh, it's koan, lagging. Flash the question na lang, to the koan. All right. Awa pa ang question. Let's move to the next question while you're opening the koan. So that we can maximize our remaining time. Uy, naunsa na. Nanghinay ang mga koan, sir, kay nag-ulan man. So, okay. Here's the first trivia. Name the 5 ships of the expedition. Correct, no? Kinahanglan correct ang spelling, no? Wrong spelling, wrong. Just the 5 ships without their captains. Please, the first one, Paspas, gets the 300 peso load. We will send you the load. Okay. We will announce the winner. Maybe later, even after the webinar, we'll be posting the names of the winners of the trivia. All right. So let's move on. Let's go back to the question and answer. Yeah, question and answer, please. Okay, next question. All right. Naglag. Next question, please.
Oy, chat lang ang question.
If flash din he. Katong i-flash.
How many people or crew of Elcano after battle Mactan left? 18.
From Isa.
17 plus Elcano 18.
Okay. Wow, that was a quick answer.
Assuming nobody died, there could have been more. But there's no report that people died along the way back to Spain. So 18 made it to Spain. So that should have been the only members left. Wait, na ay nabilin from Trinidad who were in Tidor. But of the 18 kang Elcano, they reached Spain. So the 18 were the circumnavigators together with Elcano. They're probably
All right.
Spaniards, all of them, yeah, or most of them.
Okay. So thank you for the question. Next question, please. Let's try to get
Then
a lot.
authors, notes, derateros. Yeah. I will not. I will not talk about the difference in Lamasawa and Masawa. I am not. I do not. It is beyond the scope of my understanding. Ratters and all that, and Hines de Mafra and all that. Those are to be settled by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, and therefore it was settled in NHI, and they're, I think, settling it now. So we wait for the results of that issue.
All right.
But
Okay.
officially, I stand by
Yes,
the
sir.
Lima decision because that's the officially accepted location for now.
All right. Okay. So next question, please. I hope that is settled. Na-source nga giplano to ni humabon ang away ni Magellan ug Lapu-Lapu kay without Lapu-Lapu asking for toll fee from those who passed by upon humabon had trade advantage. Teresa Lanit, taga San Carlos ni.
That was the cause probably of their fight. They were rivals in trading prominence. No, so did humabon do that? No, it is clear from Pigafetta that humabon actually dissuaded him. I mean, no, not dissuaded him. Magellan's men dissuaded him that this was a local fight, a local rivalry, and so the rivalry already existed. It was Magellan who presented himself to humabon na, I will help you. Nya, stay ka lang sa imong barko, imong karakoa or salisipan, whatever. Nya, watch us as we battle. So I don't think humabon would go to Lapu-Lapu nga pre. Away ta nya kana si Lapu-Lapu mo, Magellan will fight for me, blah blah blah. That would have been suicide on the part of Lapu-Lapu. I think, as the events will show, there was a rivalry already in existence, and Magellan took on hubris or whatever, naapektuhan sa kuwang ug kaon sa travel, ning appeal sa gubat nga wa siya labot. Wala siya.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can accommodate 3 more questions if we have 3 more questions kay murag nag-overtime na ta. Next question, the baptism of the natives, though were part of the Spanish conquest, was a political move done by Raha, where's the one again, Humabon. However, Humabon also poisoned some of the crew. In your opinion, sir, did that event place a large blow on Humabon's influence?
It is accepted by even church scholars that the conversion of Humabon was a tactical alliance, a tactical move. It was not that they believed in God or Christ or whatever. They just saw in the pomp and the ceremony was so different, and they saw in Magellan an ally. So it was alliance building. So was it a loss of faith? Yes, it would have been a loss for Humabon nga napil even siya. That's why the massacre was the intent of faith saving. I mean, I think that's how I presented it. That was the only way to save face with his allies. Now, it's true, I temporarily had an alliance because I thought they had all the arms, but apparently it doesn't work against poison. So, poison.
O din na, saving face. Okay, next question.
No, if we go to war with another country, we give them food. Nga, ipaspoil na. Butangin na.
You're giving us ideas, sir. Okay. Next question, Michelle Trangia. Let me clarify what the ship's called.
Caravel.
Caravel. Yeah.
Caravels. Or Karak. Smaller. Karak. By the time Legazpi arrives, galleon na siya. No, dagko na. Yeah.
Okay. That was a quick answer from Sergio Bers. Last maybe. Do we have another question pa? One more? Another question? Do we still have one more question? Wala na? Okay, here.
Si Mang Pangutana, the voyage of Provincial was Pigafetta sila ni Dingo.
Donggo. Kay Seliman ang nagngalan sa Las
He
Islas
named
Filipinas.
Filipinas, not Filipinas. Felipe. Filipinas. Felipinas. When he was in Samar. When Villalobos was standing in Samar and he says, I named this place Filipinas. And it stuck. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I think, if actually we have already a trivia winner. So trivia 1. Maybe we can have one more trivia. Maybe we just announce after the webinar. While they're preparing, we will announce the first trivia winner. Ohel Lana. I hope you can contact us, PM us, and then we'll tell you how we're going to do the giving of the prize to you. So Ohel Lana, congratulations. You answered first our first trivia question. Let's give them the second trivia question. Okay, this is the second before we close. Ang kadugay nag-log.
Any problem, Philippines? Saan ka ng learning? It's online learning, ani?
Muna, challenge na, sir. But, you know, okay raman ta. Lipay mga hapon ta, sir. Nag-lag ang
Hindi na
internet.
magklase ang tanong Pilipinas inig August, madaka.
Yeah, okay. While waiting for the first trivia, we'd like to take the opportunity. Oh, yeah, there. Sorry. Trivia number 2. What is the name of the treaty that divided the known world and anything beyond between Spain and Portugal? Ay, sa yun kaayo ni. Kaya nagawas yun na dito sa PowerPoint ni Sir Jober. So, quick fingers, please send your answers. We have, I think, remaining trivia questions, but like I said, they will be already given in our GSK FB page. So make sure to follow so that you know the trivia questions and you can answer them. Maybe you will win the 300 peso load. So now, we'd like to thank Sir Jobers for his, with Sir Jobers, one of the few people I know who can make history fun, especially because it comes from someone who is passionate, not only passionate about history, but also has a very great sense of humor. Mo na makapalingaw sa history. So thank you very much, Sir Jobers. Yeah, for our first GSK online activity. And sir, we're just flashing the certificate we will be giving you. But this is how it will look. So the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Eleazar R. Bersales for sharing his expertise and time as speaker of this webinar during the first Gabii sa Kabilin 2020 online activity in June. So given this day in Cebu City, signed by Rafi President and CEO, Ms. Dominica Bichua. Wow. Thank you, kaayo, Sir Jobers. Any last words, sir?
No, just continue with the work of GSK. It's good that Gabii sa Kabilin is going on despite the difficulties of COVID-19. And I hope we all survive intact and with our minds intact. Nadita mabuang aning quarantine.
Gahi man tagulo, sir, so di ni mabuang ang mga utok na to.
Stay safe, stay home, wear a mask if you go out, keep social distancing.
Pugong lang. Pugong lang. Thank you. Thank you, kaayo, Sir Jobers. We'd like to thank the team, the organizing committee behind the scenes, Joey, Arlene, Martel, Sigrid, and Mac. And we'd like to thank and also the team, the sales team and the BDG team. We'd also like to thank Masi Cabañez of Museo Sugbo for being part of the core group of GSK and for helping us come up with the GSK online activities. We'd like to thank also the audience here with us for taking time this afternoon. It's a rainy afternoon, but I know you're not sleepy. You were never sleepy at any point in the lecture of Sir Jobers because it's fun and very informative. We'd like to remind everyone that the trivia I said already that we will continue that even after the webinar. There is the kids contest. So if you have kids, please tell them kay mas dako ang prizes sa atong kids contest. We will be posting info about that in our website, in our FB site. We would like to remind everyone, especially for those who would like to get the e-certificates for this webinar, please accomplish the online registration and the evaluation for you to get that e-certificate. The e-certificates, by the way, the individual certificates with your names, please give us time to release them. Give us 1 to 2 weeks to release the certificates. Please also like and follow the GSK FB page. If you want to know more information about Cebuano culture and heritage, we are posting weekly about tidbits, no, bite-sized information about Cebuano culture and history and arts, everything related to heritage. And we'd like to also ask you to please join us in the next webinar in the next month in July. We have the journey of the Cebuano palette food this time, and there will be a cooking demo involved, and that this will be hosted by Cebu Palmgrass Hotel. And once again, we'd like to thank everyone, and please, as what Sir Jober said, stay safe and healthy. Maayong hapon mga Subuanon kabisdak. Goodbye.
Again, thank you so much for your valuable time and for participating in our first webinar. We hope to see you again next month for another engaging activity to appreciate and experience Cebu's culture and heritage. Only here at Gabii sa Kabilin 2020 online activities. Have a good day!